We need a fan in here. Huh? What? Oh, okay. Please. I do have to turn it off. Oh, I'm on time. Here's mine.
And the originals on those. Yeah, okay.
On those appointments.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
It's now 6:30. I want to welcome the Grand Cape Port meeting, the 19th. If everyone from vacation, if you could just stay like.
Would you bow? Pray together. Our Father in heaven, we come before you tonight, ever grateful for the opportunity to meet in a free and democratic republic, thanking you for the freedoms that we enjoy, that we've been blessed with from your hand in this nation. Thanking you for civil government, for an institution that you have created and given us to be governed by. And Lord, we pray that in this room tonight, all that transpires and all that's done will be for our good and your glory, that we would treat one another with love and respect and kindness. Teach us to love one another, love our neighbors, and seek to honor and care one for another as a community. So we ask your blessing and your presence and your favor to be here tonight. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. May be seated. If I can ask the clerk to call roll.
Magistrate Riley.
Present.
Magistrate Goldar.
Present.
Magistrate Humphrey.
Present.
And Judge Dills.
Present. If we could start our first on the agenda, approval of the minutes presented for you to approve the minutes for February 5th, 2019.
Having read the minutes of the Grant County Fiscal Court dated February 5th, 2019, I make a motion that we approve those minutes as printed.
I second.
I have a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. If the court doesn't mind, I'm going to skip down to guest. We have present with us Greg Middleton, a council member from Williamstown Council. They have a meeting that starts up at 7 o'clock, and I want him to be able to attend. Also with him, and he'll probably be introducing Joe Montgomery with Operation Honor. I asked them both if they would come after speaking with them. And Mr. Montgomery and also Mr. Middleton wants to speak to you about a very unique project.
Hi, good evening. Greg Middleton, for those that might not know me. Got involved with Operation Honor last year through my work with SRM Concrete, but we donated some concrete to a facility that they were doing. It's actually started in Owen County. But Joe Montgomery's here to speak. I just kind of want to give him a brief introduction to my knowledge with Joe. But it's a very worthwhile project we're bringing to Grant County here in Williamstown. My involvement with the city of Williamstown as a councilman, in January of this year, we voted to do these honor banners to honor any veteran, first responder, military. And we're basically trying to get word out on this program to support the honor banners. They'll first be hung in, and they'll say Grant County salutes. We've given each of the magistrates here a copy. Just looking to basically get word out, get support of the program. We've met with Mayor Skinner. We're in the process of meeting with mayors of the other cities. It's really just a win-win. It's just going to honor our veterans. If you have a veteran you'd like to honor, or I say veterans a lot, but it's really for first responders as well. The banners are $150, and we're going to hang them prominently in Williamstown for 2 years. And they'll be on one of our utility poles. And we hope to line all of Williamstown with banners and run out of room, and then we'll move to Crittenden and the other municipalities. We've, like I say, garnered support for the program. And if you have any questions, you can contact me. I work at SRM Concrete and Dry Ridge. Used to be Grant County Concrete. So my phone number's in the local book, or you can contact me via Facebook. We're trying to just really get word out. Here's Joe Montgomery. He is the founder of the program, and he'll give you some more details.
Thanks, Greg. Judge Dills, thanks for having me. Magistrates, haven't had the opportunity to meet most of you, but as Greg said, my name is Joe Montgomery, and Operation Honor is a program that I founded a little over 10 years ago. We are based in the Northern Kentucky region. My wife and I own some land in Owen County. We've been doing a lot of activities in Owen County, working with Judge Ellis over there for the last 5+ years. That's where we started our Honor Banner program. It's a community saying thank you to our veterans, our active duty, our law enforcement, and our first responders. So for those of you attending tonight that wanted more information, you can go to operationhonor.org. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. In what we've essentially decided to do over the last 6 months in meeting people like Greg and others in Grant County that have just opened us with, just embrace everything that we're looking to do. We've done what's called an Evening with Heroes the last 2 years. This will be our 3rd annual Evening with Heroes. I left some information with y'all up there. It is April 13th, Saturday, April 13th, at the Mount Olivet Church behind the Veterans Cemetery. And there's a specific reason we're doing it there. I want to give you just a brief background of Operation Honor. What we do is, back in February 2015, we were at the Williamstown Veterans Cemetery paying our respects to an indigent veteran who had been buried there and had no family. So there was about 5 of us that showed up. And after this ceremony, this gentleman was born 2 days before my father. It kind of rang true with me, how short our time here on earth is. And I went in to find out how many indigent veterans they buried there when no one was there. We were going to start a little group to just be there. And at the time, Director Duncan showed me 16 burial flag cases sitting in a little conference room. He says, these are the 16 veterans we buried, and we put as much as we know about them on the back of the case. So I started reading them. And one by one, you'd read, someone's name, and usually like World War II or Korea or whatever. They put as much information they knew about that tag, and then right below that tag was a sticker that was probably this big that just said "Made in China." And I just swallowed hard and said, my goodness, that didn't feel right. And so that day, we had already been hiring veterans doing various woodworking projects. We basically raised a few bucks, and we would make some custom cornhole boards and bags, and we just started shipping them all over the world. That's how we started. Well, that day we decided we needed to make burial flag cases, so we learned how to make burial flag cases, and we started hiring veterans, and we started handcrafting burial flag cases that were made and signed by veterans. And our first thing we did was went down and replaced those 16 cases at the cemetery there, and then we picked up the phone and called Arlington Cemetery, because where else would you call if you're making veterans? And that was a burial station as well. They said, how soon can we get your cases? So the cases made by our veterans right here in Northern Kentucky are the only burial flag cases offered at Arlington National Cemetery, and we're expanding the program. This Evening with Heroes on the 13th, and I'm inviting everyone in this room and information, and obviously everyone here. We're going to make some announcements about a plan that we've had for the last 5 years. It's called Patriots Point, and it's a veteran-centric complex, and we've been looking for a home, and myself, our board, we have an advisory committee that we formed, feel that Grant County would be the perfect place to build Patriots Point. So there's going to be a lot of information disseminated over the next few months, but I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of just give you an overview. There's a lot more to the story, obviously, but I appreciate the time tonight. Greg's easily accessible. I'm easily accessible. If you go onto operationhonor.org and hit contact, it comes to me. But these honor banners, we'd like everybody to spread the word about them. We did this in Owen County. We got about 88 banners the first year. Usually the second year is better because everybody sees them, and then they're like, "Oh, I want to get one for Uncle Bill, and my dad needs one." But we're really going to make a push to beat that 88 banners in year one, and we'll be outside of Williamstown. We'll have them all over Grant County, and they're 2 foot by 4 foot banners, and we just redesigned them. They look really, really sharp. That's an actual picture of one there. Mr. Gafford's on there. So once they're up, if y'all never seen them or seen them in Owen County or whatever, we're in 6 different communities. Gallatin's done them, Carrollton's done them, Independence, Owen County. So Grant, I think will be our 6th community. So if nobody has any questions, I could talk all night, but I know we
I want to tell you thanks, Joe. I've been on Facebook. I've read your Facebook page. You're doing a good thing. And I know that Williamstown has supported you by the city council, and we'll be glad to bring something before the court as a form of a resolution supporting the project and the things you're doing for our county.
Thank you, Judge.
So I'll be glad to sit down with you here in the future, near future, to get something quickly put together.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I certainly appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming up. Thanks, Greg. Now you can get to your city council meeting.
We do have tickets, so veterans and first responders will be free that night. We will have tickets at the city of Williamstown that they can pick up normal business hour. We kind of failed to mention that, so we have those tickets that are current. And the other tickets for spouses, family members are $15, and it's catered by Bell's Catering, so you're basically getting, there's really no cost to this. And we're also having the Eyes of Freedom there. It's a very touching tribute that will be not only there that night, but it will be at the city of Williamstown the following weeks. Similar to the Vietnam traveling wall, that memorial will leave Mount Olivet on Saturday, and Monday morning will be at the city of Williamstown for that whole week. And we actually put really as much work into that.
Yeah, I apologize for not mentioning that, but all veterans, first responders, law enforcement, they're all free to come to the event. It's going to be from 5 to 7:30. Other than that, it's $15 each. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. This Eyes of Freedom will be unveiled that night. It's a very powerful memorial for the legal company, 325, lost 23 young Marines in Iraq about 5 months, 2005. So it's going to be a very powerful evening. So hopefully y'all can join us and learn a bit more about the rest of the barbecues. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. Takes us to fiscal matters. First on the fiscal matters, present, review, and motion to approve the claims drawn on the general fund, the road fund, and the jail fund, along with any transfers as presented for February 19th, 2019.
I make a motion to approve the claims presented this evening against the general fund, road fund, and jail fund dated February 19th, along with the transfers.
I second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, present for a motion in accordance with the provision KRS 64.527 to adjust the compensation for 2019 for the members of Grant County Fiscal Court, the magistrate, the Grant County Coroner for the amount of 1.9% as determined by the Department of Local Government, retroactive to January 1, 2019. This is a cost of living raise that's given out first of the year, and I just want to let the public know the magistrates in the past years have elected not to take that. When when things were real tough and we were trying to get things done. But I want to commend them for their work, and I feel like that this is something they need to take. It's basically a cost of living raise with the increase of inflation. It's very minor at 1.9%. So I'm going to need a motion to pass for the magistrates and the coroner.
I make a motion in accordance with provision KRS 64527 on the 1.9 cost adjustment for magistrates and the Grant County Coroner.
I'll second the motion.
I have a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 on our item is present a motion in accordance with provision KRS 15.765 to adjust compensation for 2019 for the Grant County Attorney in the amount of 1.9% as determined by the Department of Local Government, retroactive January 1, 2019. Same as magistrate, this is for the Grant County Attorney.
I make a motion pertaining to provision KRS 15765 to adjust the compensation for 2019 for the Grant County Attorney in the amount of 1.9%, retroactivated to January 1st of 2019.
I second.
I have a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is going to be an addition that we've actually been working on over the last few days. If I can have the clerk read the addition to our agenda for February 19th, 2019.
We're going to present for a motion to approve the appropriation of funds to increase the salaries of the existing deputy jailers at the Grant County Detention Center, as well as new hires. Court feels this is necessary due to extended low staffing in the Grant County Detention Center and high turnover rates. The Department of Justice has consistently asked that the Grant County Detention Center increase the floor deputies for safety reasons. These funds are already in the detention fund salaries appropriation line item, and no funds will need to be transferred or moved for this change to take place.
Before I get a motion on this, I just want the public, for transparency, situation we're running into, the current pay at the Grant County Detention Center for starting deputy is $11.50 an hour. They're just not getting any staff, and it's a safety issue. It's a recommendation by the Department of Justice, along with the Department of Corrections, and also the Kentucky Public Safety, that we get staffing on the floors at our jail. Currently, what's happening, the current staff we're having to pay overtime, which is extreme, and by increasing the staffing, we're able to relieve the overtime. And the only way we can get staffing is we just need to get in the ballpark with our starting pay so that we can get qualified people to come to work. So I'm asking for.
And Judge, I just wanted to also add, as they had indicated in their proposal, it's basically almost a wash right now because they have been understaffed in this current budget. And then the next budget that the jailer and his chief deputy will work to craft, basically starting now and next month, will be the commitment to increase their commitment on the number of paying prisoners to help offset this cost. And so for any of you that follow the jail budget, you'll notice that there would be the commitment to house additional paying prisoners in future budgets to help offset the proposal that they have recommended for us to go towards.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I will need a motion.
I'll make a motion after reviewing all the facts and the salary rate analysis. I'll make a motion that we approve this as necessary to bring us up to standards where it needs to be.
I second.
I have a second. Is there any further discussion from the court? And just to add, this is not a transfer. Actually, the funds are currently in their budget that was already approved by the court. It's just that they're using an overtime at an extreme rate, and we're trying to relieve the overtime by getting staff, but paying them what current salaries are going for. So I have a second. No other discussion. If all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next is resolution number 2019-04. If I could have the clerk read that.
This is a resolution supporting addressing the modernization of Kentucky's transportation funding mechanisms to address transportation funding needs throughout the Commonwealth. Whereas all of Kentucky benefits from an interconnected multimodal transportation network that contains 57 airports, 2,600 freight rail lines, 8 operating public river ports, a statewide transit network, more than 14,000 bridges, and nearly 80,000 centerline miles of roadways. Whereas safe, efficient transportation is deemed an essential public service provided to all Kentucky communities. Whereas all Kentucky communities depend on a safe, reliable transportation network to enhance economic development opportunities. Whereas all Kentuckians depend on the transportation network for access to education, health care, employment, and other basic necessities. Whereas according to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Kentucky's road fund requires an additional $500 million per year to address current maintenance and construction needs. Whereas Kentucky's airports, railroads, riverports, and transit system required sustained, adequate investments for maintenance and improvements. Now therefore be it resolved that the Grant County Fiscal Court supports legislation to modernize Kentucky's transportation funding mechanisms to increase existing sources of funding to generate revenues needed for maintenance and construction on all modes of transportation. Be it further resolved that the Grant County Fiscal Court strongly encourages the Kentucky General Assembly to act as soon as possible to address all of Kentucky's transportation funding needs to avoid further erosion of the transportation network.
Before I ask for a motion, just for clarity, I want to explain a little bit of what the resolution is saying. It's based off of the fuel tax that we pay at the gas pumps. What's happened because of efficiency of vehicles that are driving further on less gas, the fact that our gas is staying down below $3 a gallon, that the infrastructure of our roads, and everybody travels our roads, we know the situation of our state, city, and county roads. This funding and what we're asking for each county in the state of Kentucky is for our legislators to modernize that fuel tax. And that fuel tax, as most of you know, is paid by not just us here in Grant County, but it's paid from people traveling up and down our interstates, anybody that's getting fuel at our gas stations. So we're asking them, hoping the gas prices continue to stay down, and if so, the resolution identifies the loss the state's losing. And that's the money that we get at our local money to repair our roads. So we're just asking legislators to look at modernizing that tax because we can't continue to get local funds to pay for our roads from the state. So if I could have a motion from the court to pass this resolution so we can forward it on to Frankfurt to our legislators.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-04 in order to obtain support to forward that to Frankfurt, acknowledging that there needs to be something done.
Yes.
Considering.
Consider something else other than nothing.
I second.
I have a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution passes.
I just found another error. I'll fix that.
Okay.
Sign it later.
Next on the agenda is appointments, and if anyone was here at our last meeting, we had a couple pages of appointments. We've got their appointments cleared up and current. If I can ask the clerk to read our first appointment.
Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, to hereby appoint Tiffany Horn, 220 Bingham Lane, to serve as Judge Executive Chuck Dills designee on the Northern Kentucky District Board of Health, retroactive to January the 1st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022.
Before I ask for a motion, just the background, Tiffany Horn will be representing me on that board, And Tiffany's background, she's a registered nurse with Santee Hospital. I think she has a lot to bring to the court on her representation. We need a motion.
I present for motion to appoint Tiffany Horn to serve as Judge Executive Chuck Dill's designee to the Northern Kentucky District Board of Health, retroactive to January 1st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022.
I'll second that motion.
I have a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Before I go to number 2, this is on the Corinth Water District. I actually had Tara Wright with the Corinth Water District submit some names to me, and she submitted a total of 4 names. Went through the names, tried to pick someone to serve on that board with some background with contracts, bidding, and I've made a selection that I want to present to the court. If I can have the clerk read that for me.
I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby appoint Diane Mincarelli to serve on the Corinth Water District Board of Commissioners effective February 19th, 2019, and to expire on June 30th, 2020. This appointment is to fill the unexpired term of Robert McDaniel.
Thank you. Need a motion by this appointment.
Is it just a typo on this one? On our sheet, it says to expire on June the 20th, 2020. Is that just a typo on ours?
That's correct. She's filling Bob McDaniel's unexpired term.
Okay.
So
This is serving out the rest of
she's
that
serving out the rest of
Because he,
So it'll be
his term.
June
And
the
just
30th?
For clarity to the public, Bob McDaniel's has moved out of the county. First of all, you got to serve in the water district area to be on that committee, on that board. Not only is he not in the Corinth Water District, he's currently living in Northern Kentucky. So need a reappointment for it, and it's to fill that unexpired term.
I think their issue is that the appointment says June 30th, but what she just read said June 20th on their
so did you
agenda.
want it the end of the month of June, or did you want it the June 20th? The end of the month, probably?
I have, in my minutes, I have June 30th, 2020. What does the appointment say?
Probably should say the 30th, right?
Oh, it's the
agenda says
agenda. Okay, the agenda's wrong.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll just fix the agenda, yeah.
Yeah, for correction purposes, the agenda is showing June 20th, 2020, and the actual appointment, unexpired term is June 30th. Sorry about that.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Diane Mincarelli to serve as a member of the Corinth Water District Board, effective February 19th, 2019, and to expire on June 30th, 2020.
I will second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. New business. Present for review of motion to approve interim Grant County Sheriff Donnie Mulligan's final settlement of tax collected and account for October 31st, 2018 through January 2nd, 2019, along with certifications dated February 7th, 2019. Basically, this is after I retired as sheriff, Donnie Mulligan was appointed by the previous judge exec to serve out my term until Sheriff Brian Maines had won the election and took office. So during that time, there was tax collection that the auditor's office had to come in and collect during that 3 months. And you have it before you for review of that settlement.
I make a motion to approve the interim Grant County Sheriff Donald Mulligan's final settlement of taxes collected and accounted for from October 31st, 2018 through January the 2nd, 2019, along with the certification dated February the 7th, 2019.
I will second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is bids. This is on, to open up the bids for the boom truck as we advertise in the Grant County News. And this boom truck, just for clarity for the public, is actually used to clear up the trees, mainly ash trees that's died on the side of our county roads. We have been renting that truck at extreme high rate, and it was a lot cheaper for us to search bids for a used truck for the road department to get these trees cut down and before they fall on our roadways.
To give them more work to do.
Yes.
Did we only have one?
Yeah, we just received one bid. It was received on February 8th, 2019, 3:50 p.m. and it was received by Pat Conrad. And they've sent the photographs of the truck. The bid request we had, I don't actually have it in front of me. It was for a later model truck with less than 100,000 miles that had the ability with the boom that would go at least 60 feet, and also that it would have a compartment that we could do the chipper shredding into the back of the vehicle. This bid's on a 2006 GMC, 68,600 miles. It's a C7500 series. Bid submitted for purchase is $27,300. This unit is an all-tech LRV 55 boom with one-man bucket, 60-foot working height. Specs: it has a 8.1 liter gas engine, 6-speed transmission. Weight of it's 30,350 pounds. Overall weight, it's got a 11-foot chipper dump body bed on it with a separate Kubota pony motor, which runs the hydraulics and the lift so the vehicle doesn't have to be running while they're using it. All equipment is operating in good condition. I'd like to take a look at the bids and the photograph.
I like that they submitted photos. We've not gotten that before.
Yeah.
Is this,
Steve's here in the audience. They've been over, actually, I went over one occasion. They've been over, I think, a couple occasions. I know that sent the mechanic over to look at the vehicle. Is there anything you want to add to it, Steve?
It's a good working check. There's no rust, none of that on it. It will do the job that we need to do.
Just curiosity, what's that truck cost new?
You're looking at 200,000.
Okay.
is this, for the audience, we had the prior court, when we had approved the road department's budget, I think they had a little over 100,000, was that right? 80 to 120,000, give or take, set aside for equipment purchases, whether it was for new tractors, pickup truck, potentially this, because we haven't bought anything yet, have we?
No, other than the skid loader.
Right, beside
Yeah.
the skid loader, which
Which that wasn't.
But that didn't even come out of the road.
No, that
budget.
wasn't the road
That came
budget.
out
I'm
of the
sorry.
DES
it's to be
budget.
used by the road department, but
Yes,
it
we took
didn't.
that out of the DES.
But as a housekeeping measure, I don't have our appropriations percentage, but I don't believe we have
No,
purchased
I
much of
think it was
anything.
125,000 that
Was it
was
125?
budgeted for
I
some
knew it was-
equipment. It was that, it was a tractor with a bush hog.
Yeah, the only other purchase we made was the truck, the dump truck to replace the one that.
Yes.
Which that one wasn't planned.
But the insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
Was this what you guys were thinking you would spend?
Yeah, I was thought around 30,000.
Okay.
Steve, is there anything else to add to it? I mean, is there any reason we shouldn't accept the bid?
I don't see any reason not to set up the way we need it.
Okay.
Especially with the chip box on the back of a lot that you look at, don't have time.
And anyone that wasn't at the meeting when we were discussing this, if I'm right, it's $1,500 for 3 days is what the rental is for a bucket truck. So do the math. I mean, it's well worth it to purchase a used, nice vehicle to save us money. Plus, we're not restricted. They can work for 4 hours one day if the weather's bad, and they don't have to be paying full-day rentals.
And there's going to be plenty of ash trees to cut down.
And there's plenty of ash trees. Anybody
There
that
has been.
lives on the county roads, they're all over the roads, and they're going to be falling down come.
You remember
Heavy
too,
winds.
during the ice storms, we have trees down during the ice storms. It's messy. Not that many years ago, we had the tornado come through Grant County. It devastated a lot of property. It cost tens of thousands of dollars to rent equipment to clean it up. So having our own is a great benefit.
I'm going to need a motion on the bid if everyone's comfortable with the bid, the photographs, and after our county road supervisor spoke on the equipment.
Who presented the bid? Who's the company that?
Craig Miller.
Over
Craig-
Owen
Craig
County,
Mall
right?
over in Owen County.
After reviewing the bid with Craig Mile Equipment, I make a motion that we accept their bid.
I second.
I have a second. Any further discussion?
Who seconded that, Mr.
Shauna. If there's no further discussion, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to Judge Executive Report, just sort of, and I'll let the magistrates answer on a lot of this out of their districts. It's been a busy last few weeks with road situations, Blanchett Road being one of them. Had to declare an emergency last week when the water lines had shifted under the road so that we could utilize county labor and county equipment to assist in trying to get these repairs done quicker than later. I want to add and commend Steve Tatum and the road department. They spent some extra hours out and overtime that they were quickly on it so that we could get GSI, who's our contractor doing the road work. So we're hoping that we can get this road stabilized as soon as possible. So 2 weeks ago, I met with a gentleman from CVG. He sent me some literature. Just so the public knows, there's a lot of job openings at the Cincinnati Airport, CVG Airport. He's sending me information. Actually, I meant to present that tonight. He had sent down how many people out of each one of our zip codes in Grant County. It was, I'm going to say close to 400 people in Grant County works at CVG. And there are 1,000 more jobs based out of CVG, whether it's with the airport itself or with some of the vendors. So I'll have that report next meeting to present and just let you know some of the statistics. It was very interested which areas of the county works at the airport. Other than just working on some of the road issues, I declared an emergency on Rainbow Drive. Rainbow, if you're not familiar with it, is where Bullock Pen is. They're getting ready to do dam repairs to the lake. Most of that water is supplied to Crittenden and Dry Ridge, even south into outside the incorporated areas of Williamstown. That road is slipping from the heavy rains and is continuing to get worse. So we had GSI give us a bid. Steve Tatum's talked to them on it, and we're seeking state road funds to try to get that road back in better condition. So I'll move on to Magistrate Riley, 1st District. You can touch base on with the railroad
Oh, okay.
and also the south in the county.
Yes, so to echo Judge Dills' comments as to the ongoing daily things that continue to progress on Blanchett Road on the south end of the county as it pertains to the GSI construction and the Corinth Water District lines. It has been a very fragile situation, so I am thankful that Judge Wood declared that road an emergency that would allow us to use county assets legally, both manpower and equipment. And I know Steve's back there chuckling, but like it's a touch and go situation. But
Call me Judge Wood.
oh no, I didn't.
We go ahead.
Judge Dills! Oh my word! I'm so sorry. On film. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
That's right, keep going.
I kept wondering why he was laughing at me, and I thought probably because I text him so much.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit me now?
No.
I'm sorry. No, I'm going to move forward on that right now. But what I was saying is, it has been a very stressful situation to try to keep the communication channels open because our road department has really stepped in and to handle some things that they necessarily are not responsible for, nor is it in the scope of their job description. And so with that being said, the latest is there was a water main break midday today, mid-morning. That has been fixed again. GSI was moved off of Blanchett Road and did report to Arnold's Creek, of which, that way, a little bit further down. And because the road had shifted so much, once GSI broke ground, got in there and had to move out because they identified a water line, it was clear that Arnold's Creek project could not be finished and still allow time for Blanchett Road to be traveled by the residents. And so thankfully Judge Dills allowed, that's not going to happen again. Judge Dills allowed the road department to come in and basically get GSI back out there to resume the work. And the reality is I know folks have went without water. I know folks have went without meal. And we continue to communicate with the Corinth Water District. I continue to communicate with the post office, and the reality is they will continue to make attempts to deliver mail, but when the road's blocked, they may or may not wait. And so I would humbly ask for those residents' continued patience because we want that job fixed appropriately and fixed right. And I know that it's not easy when you're waiting 5, 10, 15 minutes plus, sometimes longer to get through the roads, but do know that we're in this together and we want to address the roads appropriately. We also have updates from Blanchett Bridge, which many of you know that the state opened bids January 25th. The bids were successfully awarded, and the Transportation Cabinet is working to have pre-construction meetings for the Blanchett Bridge, of which they predict that we as residents will visibly see noticeable changes likely by the end of March. And so they have not scheduled those meetings yet with the new contractor for Blanchett Bridge, but they have successfully identified the contractor that will do the work, and they will be having meetings some point in time. That was a hot off the press as of this morning when they responded. Then for Delaney Bridge, for all of you still following here, Delaney was the bridge that the state had committed to allowing them to repair that bridge, the railroad, and that equipment, a piece was moved on Friday and another piece of large equipment moved yesterday. And so we are still waiting to hear back from the railroad to identify if that repair is finished, and that the railroad has informed the state that they could come in and inspect that bridge. And so I would anticipate it's going to be any day now. The railroad had committed around February 15th that the project would be done, and I think common sense tells us that if any of you have looked at that bridge and have saw the significant improvements made to it and have noticed that the equipment's gone, it's got to be just a matter of time. And I've communicated with the government relations contact with Norfolk Southern, and he said, he's following protocol, chain of command, and he's following up, and he had texted me late this afternoon. And so I continue to pray and have my fingers crossed that, our road department would be informed by the state once they have that inspected. It's just the state hasn't been informed by the railroad that the work's done yet. Steve, did you have any more to add on that?
I talked to Gary Cochran, who is the bridge inspector for this area. And as of this afternoon, the about 3 o'clock. They still haven't been contacted by the railroad to inspect the bridge. He said as soon as they contact him, that all the work is done. I think what the holdup is, the contractor who done the work, the railroad hasn't approved that work that they've done yet, and that's the whole.
I agree, because the government relations with Norfolk Southern did indicate that he would reach out to the railroad bridge engineer, not the state engineer. So I agree with you. I think it's a matter of just communications going. I will share with you on behalf of your county representation, I had already emailed a few weeks ago asking, the state to be on standby because we didn't want to lose any time as to when the project was completed. But one thing that we've noticed, it just is a lengthy, slow process.
Yes.
But we will continue to follow up on that. And then just other, housekeeping items as a magistrate, attending various meetings throughout the community, whether that's, Corinth Fire Department or Work Ready Community or the Chamber of Commerce or other city council meetings. And I will be quiet and let my colleagues talk.
Okay. Again, with the rain that we seen last week, the flooding down around Ford's Mill Road and Clark's Creek was really, really bad. Steve had showed me some pictures there. And with the extreme condition of the road before, I'm sure it's even a worse condition now. Potholes are very, very bad. And Steve keeps attacking those, and we keep reporting those. And I encourage, as before, everyone to report them. Jameson Road, it's still about 3 weeks away on the slippage over there. They did come out and drill for the depth for the repairs this week, so it is moving forward. We should be prioritizing very soon, Steve, correct, on which roads we're going to be blacktopping in the county with the road funds that we do have. Is that okay? And I'll be
still finishing the ones that are on the list from last year that have funding.
Right. And also, the March will be the letting of to the contractors for the 2 state bridges on Highway 22. I don't know what the extent of those repairs are going to be. If it's going to be a complete replacement, I really don't feel that's what it was, but it'll be an in-depth repair. But the state has assured us that they have inspected the bridges to make sure they're not any danger of falling. So, but they will bring them up to date. As Jacqueline mentioned, we did attend several conferences, and also the chamber met this morning and had several items that's going to be very positive for Grant County. There's a heritage trail that is supposed to run through Grant County for like walking trails, bikes, horse trails, from one end to the other. They're getting a grant to do that. So hopefully that will be awarded tomorrow. And also at the Extension Office, there's a lot of programs that Grant County Extension Office does provide, one especially for the 4-H, and they'll be having a chili cook-off to help raise money for the 4-H. I think that's the 28th or 29th, wasn't it, on a Friday? But I do encourage the community to support the 4-H. I think that's all I have.
Well, down in District 3, I guess we're blessed we don't have any railroad bridges. We
Yes,
have
you
to deal
are.
with the railroad.
Yes, you are.
And you don't have any county road.
What areas we have been addressing on Shady Lane, been working with the road department, talking with Steve on that. He's been on top of that. The bridge at the bottom on Shady Lane has been in very bad shape for many years. It's sitting in a 90-degree curve. Very narrow bridge, receives a lot of damage. As soon as the guardrails are put up, they're tore back down. Steve has worked with the state and worked with some others. It looks like we're going to be moving forward on that and getting that bridge replaced and widened to accommodate the traffic in that area. Talking with several of the people in District 3, when they report issues to me, report them to the judge and report them to Steve, and they've been taken care of. Every issue that's been reported to us has been taken care of by the road department in a very quick manner, and I appreciate that. And so do the people. They really, they're saying you're doing a lot better job than the state highway department's doing on some of theirs. But of course, state highway's got a lot of responsibility too, so. Attended the conference last month, picked up some great information, some good training, met a lot of people, and these people are very proud of Grant County and the direction we're moving. Grant County's starting to get a more positive name now than what we've had in the past, so I think that's something that all of you all should be proud of. I know I'm proud, and I think you all should be proud of too. We're not perfect, but we do our best with what we have, and it takes a team to do it, and you all are part of that team, and I thank you all.
Okay, moving on, I want to thank the magistrates for the work you're all doing. We're going to move on down. We've added, as we did the very first meeting, is reports from our jailer. If Mike Webster, our jailer, wants to get up and give a report on inmate count and anything else. Did you bring applications with you?
Okay, our inmate count stayed, we're at 266, 42 county, total of 308. We picked up a little over 3 ton of trash in the last 2 weeks. And we did 40 plus hours of training. Let's say 40 plus hours, that's not, it's training sessions, so there was more than one employee in them sessions. It's pretty short and sweet. Guys, any questions for me?
Good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mike. We also have Brian Raines, our Grant County Sheriff, present. Do you have anything to report this meeting?
I have a few things. I'll start with that.
Okay.
That is, we are short cruisers, and we've been fighting with Ford, Paul Miller, for several months now. We ordered them in August. Myself and the Chief Deputy went down and paid them a visit. They say they should be here in a few weeks. With that being said, though, we did have another one totaled last night. Car came out of Family Dollar, pulled out in front of Deputy Prince, and he T-boned the car, incapacitated the cruiser. The driver of the vehicle sped off, crashed, ran on foot, so we're still looking for him, trying to positively identify him, but we did lose another cruiser, so keep that in mind.
But you do have the car and the drugs that were in it, correct?
We do have the car, and there was some drugs in there.
Hence why he ran? Hence why the person ran?
Yeah, that's why he ran. That was some warrants he's got out for him. We think we know who he is.
Him or her.
Him or
Okay,
her.
okay.
Also, county attorney, along with that incident, has been very busy with search warrants for us. We had the Ivy Leaf florist break-in, Deputy Conrad worked, was able to solve that through some Facebook tips in the community, caught the suspect, and ultimately turned into a multi-state investigation. This guy had been stealing Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, several other states. And then something we started at the sheriff's office is shift notes to kind of keep all the other deputies informed on what other deputies on other shifts are doing. And last Thursday, an email was sent out by Captain Schweitzer about a stolen trailer and a vehicle description that had been seen at that residence that evening. And with that, Deputy Bobby Webb was off duty, recognized the vehicle from the email that was sent out, was able to call the on-duty units, get the vehicle stopped. That's turned into a few search warrants also. We've recovered a stolen trailer from here in the county, a stolen mini excavator out of Ohio, stolen camper out of Kitten County, stolen motorcycle, stolen lawnmower, stolen truck, multiple items, and we're still investigating that. So that's some of what we've had going on.
Brian, how many cruisers are on order from Ford?
4.
And then there'll, I'm sure, be some insurance claim on this 5th one that...
We're anticipating, I know Deputy Goodrich was going to get with the insurance company today at some point. Once he executed the search warrant, recovered the insurance out of the car. was gonna contact them, or give that to us to contact,
And the way that that works with the Ford that's ordered, have we made a payment to them yet, or it's just,
No,
we put
so-
a ticket in for it, but we still have to take those?
we have not paid for the 4 cars yet. What we have paid for is the equipment that goes on them. So generally what happens is we order the cars, and Lance at L&W, the upfitter, orders the equipment anticipating a delivery date, and it's usually pretty spot on. But this year Ford's had some issues with the changeover from the 19s to the 20s. They're way behind. So the equipment came in early. L&W called us and said we would be more than happy to store this equipment here for you so that when these cruisers come in, they can be put together immediately. And with the Ford's pace of putting out vehicles, he's on top of things right now. The minute he gets them, he's got them together in about a day or two. So,
When did they think that, did they even give
we
you an
were told
estimate?
that 3 of them are on a truck somewhere between here and Chicago
Oh,
as of 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay.
One of them is still sitting, based off computer records, still sitting in Chicago outside the factory.
okay.
Good luck.
Yep, we need, we take donations on the fall.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Brian. Steve Tatum, anything that we haven't covered that you want to update us on?
I think we got covered it all.
Okay. Our county treasurer, I don't want to put her on the spot, Peggy's in the back. Anything that court has of Peggy or anything you want to add, Peggy? Okay. Okay. If there's no other reports, moving on the agenda to citizens' address. If there's anyone that'd like to speak to the court, raise your hand. If you want to come up here.
I just got one small question.
Okay.
Who was the company that got the bid for the bridge, and how much was the bid for?
They did not share that with us. I'm sure they will release it because it's public record. We could find out. I know that the Transportation Cabinet does have out there the projected dollar amounts on some report, but it's been so long ago since I've seen it. I don't remember off the top of my head, Cheryl.
Talking about the bid on the Blanchett Road, the new bridge? Okay.
From the state, it's in their budget, but I'd be afraid to say a number that I'd get it wrong. And I have no idea who was the successful contractor, but we can most certainly find out.
Well, and actually, as it moves a little closer, we'll be able to see some of those numbers.
Hey, I have a question. What's taking so long?
On which one?
When any of it?
Well, the railroad is Delaney.
The
And
railroad is Divine?
no, on Delaney Bridge, that's the railroad's bridge. So they had to hire private contractors to do it. And then on the Blanchett Road, new road, and also the bridges were put up bid by the state. That was open on January 25th.
Okay. You weren't here then, but this place was loaded when they had that trouble that came up. I mean, there wasn't a seat in this place.
Yeah.
I don't think you was here.
No. We're working quickly with the state. I mean, those projects are state projects. We're only, as Jacqueline's doing, she's wearing them out. I'm copied on the emails.
It should have never happened.
I'm seeing emails and texts at midnight.
Only because you guys are calling me, and all we could do, like, our hands are tied at some point, but if I've learned anything as it pertains to the state and the railroad, especially over the past 3 months, we continuously need to follow up with them to identify, has the timeline changed? Is there any new information? And more than anything, to also let the railroad know that these citizens want these bridges, because when we finally got a contact at the railroad 2.5 months ago, we're out of sight, out of mind to them, because they're in the business of freight. And in this intersection in Grant County, there's anywhere from 50 to 60 trains that travel on these tracks every single day. And they didn't want to say they're not concerned with bridges or at-grade crossings, but in reality, their priority is freight. And so it does take us to be communicating with them to let them know that these are projects we want to see done. And thankfully, our state representatives have been working on this for many, many years because they were a part of the 7-year plan. And April of 2018, they got moved up to the 2-year plan.
Right.
And we are starting to now see it's becoming a reality. And it's been a long time in the makes, for those residents. And we'll just keep chipping away at them.
Speak.
I've got a few issues.
Okay, do you want to step up?
You've touched base on most of them since I've been here.
Okay.
For those who don't know me, I'm Nick Hudson from Forest Mill Road. We've addressed the county a few times already about the ash trees. You've got the truck now, so it may get easier.
Yes.
We hope so.
I've got some that's in dangerous spots, power lines, telephone lines, that I just can't take out myself. I would like to, but can't do it. That being said, that is an issue. I don't know if I need to address you about the water situation. We love our city water. We got that about 18 years ago. Was told it would be a 5-year surcharge on that. Calculations can be off. It's been 18 years. I'm still paying $10 surcharge.
Where, that's Fort Mill Road?
Fort Mill
Is
Road.
that through Bullock Pen?
Is that through Bullock Pen?
Have you talked to them at the water district?
No, I was hoping someone would be here I could talk to,
Okay.
At the time,
Actually, last meeting,
He was here.
He was here.
yeah, there was a representative of Bullock Pen's water district.
okay.
Um,
Pat was there. She was our magistrate at the time, I believe. Our ex-judge was there, So I thought maybe I'd bring that up.
If you'll-
It's not a big issue to me. I do love my city boy.
If you'll call up here and ask for Pat, I'll be in Louisville tomorrow at a meeting. If you ask for Pat, she'll give you the contact numbers for Bullock Water District to contact them. They have board meetings. Those boards are appointed by the fiscal court.
Okay, I'd love to be at one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Our major issue is a road. Y'all have talked about Forge Mill Road. I work all over the county and the state, and I see a lot of bad roads. And I know it's not just an issue we have, but our road is in real.
and I know that Shauna has addressed that with me and also Steve Tatum. And that is definitely a road that we'll be focusing on. And I'll be straight up with you. We're trying to get the slippages fixed. As soon as we get those fixed, we'll be moving on to some other repairs to roads that are not as critical.
I understand very much.
Yeah.
I be put one place at one time.
No.
We've got some real urgent spots though, where we need guardrails. We would like to have some guardrails in a couple of places. We have accidents all the time. A lot of them reported, some of them aren't. I'll put more than one person out of different places on the road.
And we're able to track those. The sheriff's office can track them by GPS location. And Shauna had taken a number of photographs
If
of.
y'all like to see them.
Huh?
I have several pictures if y'all like to see them.
Shauna sent me a whole load of photographs.
Okay.
So, and Steve Tatum's went out and identified it. So they're on it. And like I said, I appreciate you bringing up about the ash trees because I don't know if people recognize that how important it was to get this truck
Once they
to get
fall
these
down,
ash trees
you might
cleared out.
Around the curve, it's too late, We need to
Well,
get
I'm
them
afraid they're
cleared.
going to end up on the road and these guys are going to be out at 2 a.m. cutting trees down on overtime.
They don't want to get up that late.
No.
So there's a lady just killed in Ohio with an ash tree fell on her car. She was trapped in her car for several hours and she ended up dying. Jim Simpson, a local realtor, he just totaled a truck out last year, year before with an ash tree going down the road, fell, crushed the cab down. Luckily he wasn't hurt, but it's a dangerous situation.
It is.
Very dangerous.
Our road is a dangerous situation.
Yes, it is.
It's
Yeah.
in really bad shape.
I know the one curve is the only report I had of the one guardrail. Is there more that,
Yes.
okay, because I don't have any record of those.
There's a bridge there that's getting narrow, it's caving in too, and there was a guardrail there, and I don't know, somebody scrambled it or what, but it's gone.
Probably.
And 2 cars go off that bridge, and with that.
I know you got photos.
Steve, you know the location he's talking
There's
about?
quite a few residents on
How many
Forge Mill.
residents do you think live on
It's-
Fords Mill?
it's-
Out of
It's not just the
curiosity.
residents. This road
It's a
travels
pass
frequently.
Oh, yeah.
We have people coming to the ARC go through there regular, come off 71, their
Oh,
GPS
Oh,
takes them
the
right
GPS is taking them through there.
Mr.
Yes,
Hubb?
takes them through there.
That's the closest route, so.
50-foot trailer was trying to go through, I said, buddy, you can't go through this.
Okay.
Thank you. He doesn't need to call you tomorrow.
Okay. Well, thank you,
He took
Jack.
care of that. When I get these other pictures to show you where the area.
And if you call Bullock Penn, they should be able to tell you about how much longer you're gonna have to pay that surcharge, Nikki.
I was even on their website trying to figure out what day they meet, but it's not on there. So,
There's a couple of you want to look at.
Okay.
This is
Can
where
we
the old
have-
guardrail was at.
Steve, you mind coming up looking at
Oh,
these
okay.
real quick?
Yeah, now this one is the one I had.
And the other one is where the hillside.
Okay.
and
Is-
is that a culvert?
There's a culvert
Is
down
that
there.
the one, is that the bridge at the bottom of the hill? Is
When you
that,
come up the hill from the curve, you go past my house and it's right there on the other side. I've seen cars in there, you don't know they're in there for 3 or 4 days.
Really?
Wow.
That's how deep that culvert is.
No, it looked like it had some rock, like old rock around
Old
it.
rock culvert. It's
Yeah.
slipping away on both sides.
That's on past his house,
oh, it's
that's
past it
before-
going toward,
going towards Balsam.
Okay.
It's, that's a big culvert. That's about a 6-foot culvert in there. If that's the one I'm thinking about.
That is, have we got any money in that,
Well, this project could qualify
Yeah.
for that, depending on what, if it was on your list, but it probably hasn't said
Yeah.
that.
Not because we just, identified.
Yeah.
Steve, that road's slipping away on both sides right there, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's
You may
right.
recognize it from that.
There's a big house up on the left if you're going toward.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
away from your house.
Right.
Big house sits up there on the left.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know where it's at.
This is dangerous area.
Do you care if we keep these photos?
No, ma'am.
Because we've
We
got,
brought them for you guys.
okay.
no, we've got,
We've got available funding that they're working on submitting a report for various projects, drainage,
culverts is
ditching,
one of the,
bridge,
that can be covered.
bridges that are county bridges, and so these could be scanned and put as an appendix to send,
Hey,
so.
if you need them back, we can scan them if you want those.
No, I've got more if you need them.
Okay.
A lot more pictures.
No,
I've got a lot
as long as we
too.
can identify.
So we can just refer.
My phone's full. I went down the road, I said,
Oh, wow.
Stop your car, no texting driving.
yeah, no texting, driving, no
That's pretty
picture.
much something.
We'll do everything we can to get the issue fixed. And like Jacqueline said, and Shauna, there's funding out there that we're making a
They're waiting.
list. So, and that's what we need, is these type of things
Appreciate all that you
reported.
guys can get us.
That guardrail would be, and he's got pictures of results where teenagers have wrecked and been mutilated. Cars that went all over that. I mean, strangers come through there, they don't know it's there. You might put a little sign up, but they still don't get it. And it's so steep, like the weather we're gonna have in the morning. If you start over that hill, the icy road.
You're gonna
it's
go with.
straight.
How long has it been missing, would you say? How long's the guardrail that was there?
There,
That's not been there for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's what I was saying, that, I don't know if Clark being there. I
Okay.
didn't know there was one before.
I think especially with the GPS routing everybody through there now too,
It's probably, that's what probably was cutting the road so bad,
Yeah.
but it is
It
bad.
doesn't- We have 18-wheelers come through there.
wow.
You wouldn't think you would on Forest Mill, but we do.
I
Wow.
wonder if it would help to put a no through traffic on that, could we do that?
No.
It's your county road, but they'll still come through
Yeah.
it.
On one end, there was no 18-wheelers. Is that still there? The kids?
No, it's not
We can
there.
let,
The white
we can
man-
let the law enforcement police it.
I'll call them.
Not doing
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's the one
Brian,
to call.
need you to set at Fords Mill Road. Yeah. Hey, we'll get this addressed, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Huff.
Thank
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks. Any,
Hey, you're gonna make it. It's a late one, isn't it?
Yeah, nice.
anyone else has anything they want to address with the court? Debbie?
Real quick.
Okay.
On a lighter note,
Okay.
have you seen the Ted Bundy, the ad for the Ted Bundy movie?
Yes.
It's got that in it.
Yes.
Yes,
That's really cool.
yeah.
And actually, back here, the back corner.
It's got the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the 4-H thing is this Saturday.
This Saturday, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I told her. I had to fly her out in my car. I couldn't remember.
Okay, yeah, I just know it's.
Well, I know who the winner's gonna be.
Oh,
The chili,
Oh,
the chili cook-off.
So any of you
Is there
chili
any other
makers?
activities that someone wants to report on? John?
Just one quick question. I'm curious to know what the counties, the 120 counties are recommending to Franklin about the tax increase, how much money they're asking for.
We're not asking for any, we're just asking them to examine it and modernize what's currently not working.
Like the
'Cause
formula
they're-
that's currently in play.
Yeah. They're
If a pro-
500 million in the hole.
And
So-
Roger, what he was meaning is there's so many more efficiencies in these cars, electric cars and stuff, that we as counties are not able to get the amount of monies we used to because people aren't utilizing the amount of gas they used to. So we're asking them to modernize, to look to do an analysis to try to level set the difference that we're not getting now.
And the funds like to fix Fords Mill Road, the culvert issue, these are all state funds we're receiving because of that fuel tax.
But isn't the fuel tax, isn't that a flat tax based, it's not based on the price of a gallon of gas, is it percentage-wise? Isn't it like 30 cents or whatever?
Yes.
So
Something on the
gas is
gallon.
about 20, they're still getting the 30
31,
cents.
that's correct.
$5, they're still getting 30 cents.
Yeah.
But I think isn't it 26 now is what they're getting?
Yeah, and that's the problem because it's a flat rate and less vehicles are traveling. And, I mean, I say less vehicles traveling, more efficient vehicles are traveling. That's not using up as much fuel as when they set that years ago.
Well, there was talk at one time about using mileage, your mileage. When you go and renew your plate, you get charged so much for the mileage on your car.
And that very well could be an option that they explore.
Yeah, but that doesn't take into account.
Out of state.
Exactly.
See, and that's the thing about the fuel tax. On I-75, the bulk of them are out of state.
Yeah.
So that's who we're benefiting from the use of our roads
Especially
out of
being in Grant
state.
County.
Mr. Kennard?
Yeah, listen, my name's Phil Pinar, 4185 Baton Rouge Road. I'm having a lot of trouble with coyotes.
Okay.
You know, if you lost a calf, you wouldn't like it too much.
Yeah.
But it isn't you losing, it's the farmers. And there is a slew of them this year.
Yeah.
And boy, I don't know where they're singing those songs at.
We have traps set on.
I don't know offhand, but there's trappers out there that you can contact. Does anyone know
My neighbor, we've got traps on our.
Who's in charge of singing about this?
of coyotes?
No, yeah, who's the person? I know.
You can call Fish and
Fish and
Wildlife.
Yeah, fish and wildlife.
Things really changed.
Phil, I will give you a number of a guy who may be interested in helping you. Is it on your farm?
What?
Is it your farm?
Yes, I own land.
Okay, I'll give you a guy who may be interested in helping you.
Yeah, well, I've heard that before.
Well,
And they're still here.
they're gonna be.
They don't hit us every night. They kind of give us a break, you know, kind of nice. That was a nice moon last night. I don't know if y'all saw it or not. But, hey, I'll even if I lose one.
No, absolutely.
It stinks.
I wanted to lose the man in charge of this.
Of coyotes?
No. Yeah, see the guy.
Unless, are you his attorney? I mean, it would be Department of Fish and Wildlife, but they won't come out and trap it.
Okay, they're not doing their job.
Well, I don't think
It's
that's,
a Mother Nature thing.
yeah. As Jacqueline says, Mother Nature, you need to, she's gonna try to get a hold of a trapper that will trap them.
Right here. Here you go.
Here, he's got it. She's got it right
I'm
here.
like a telephone book tonight. I'm gonna start bringing notepads.
Post-it notes.
Call that gentleman, see if he can trap them for you. They're out there, I mean, the coyotes and the trappers, so maybe he can relieve the problem.
Haven't you had any complaints about it?
This is
No,
the first one.
most farmers will sit traps themselves and or hide out and take them out themselves.
Tried that once and I caught myself.
Okay. Well, you better call that guy, Mr. Lilly. He can help you out.
Anyone else have anything they want to bring before the court? If nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned.